I never thought I would be the kind of person who would snoop. I've always prided myself on being open, honest, and trusting in my relationships. My husband, Alex, and I had been together for over 6 years. We met in college, and it didn't take long for me to fall in love with him. He was kind, intelligent, charming, and we shared so much in common. I never had a doubt that we were solid. That's what made it so hard when the cracks started to show. It wasn't anything major at first. Little things, like how Alex seemed distracted when we were together, or how he'd be on his phone more than usual. Sometimes he'd get defensive if I asked where he'd been or what he'd been up to. I tried not to overthink it. After all, he had a demanding job, and I had been focusing a lot on my own career too. We had 2 kids, and things were busy. So when I started noticing these shifts, I just chalked it up to stress. I never expected it would lead me to what I would find that day. It started with a simple task. I was organizing some old boxes in the attic, things we'd accumulated over the years. I didn't expect to find anything interesting. But when I opened a dusty box labeled Old Keepsakes, I found something I wasn't prepared for. Buried under some old photo albums, I found a small leather-bound journal. It was strange because I didn't remember Alex having a journal like this. I had never seen it before, but curiosity got the better of me and I opened it. The first page was dated just a few months ago. It wasn't in Alex's handwriting, which immediately made my heart skip a beat. The handwriting was elegant, flowing, nothing like Alex's, who always wrote in a rushed, masculine scrawl. I turned the page, and the words inside stopped me cold. I can't wait for the weekend getaway. It's been too long since I've seen you, and every moment with you feels like magic. I love the way you look at me. I know we're taking this slow, but I can't help how I feel. I never thought I'd be the one to fall for you this hard, but here I am. My heart is yours. I froze, my mind racing. Who was this? Who was he writing to? I flipped through the journal, and the entries only grew more intimate, more personal. I felt sick to my stomach, as if the air had been sucked out of the room. I kept turning the pages, desperate for an explanation, but what I found made my heart break a little more with each word. These weren't just casual notes. These were love letters. Letters filled with promises, longing, and declarations of affection. They were addressed to someone I didn't know. The dates on the entries were recent. Some of them were from just a few weeks ago. I couldn't breathe as I turned the pages, each one more damning than the last. The woman who these letters were for was someone Alex had been seeing for God knows how long. And it wasn't just an affair, it was an emotional connection. He had been in love with her. How long had he been hiding this from me? How long had he been living the second life, completely outside of everything I thought we had? I kept reading, even though every word made me feel like I was drowning. There were details, places they had been together, things they had shared. They had talked about future plans, trips they'd take, places they wanted to visit. It felt like a slap to my face, as though everything we had built together, our marriage, our family, our life, had been a lie. He had been having an emotional affair with this woman for months, and I had never suspected it. I felt like a fool. I didn't know how long I sat there, my mind spinning, my heart breaking. I wanted to scream, to shout, to confront him right then and there. But what good would it do? Would he just lie? Would he try to convince me it was nothing? The thought of him lying to me again made my stomach turn. So instead, I closed the journal and placed it back in the box. I didn't know what I was supposed to do with this information. I didn't know if I should confront him immediately or wait and gather more proof. But I knew one thing for sure, I couldn't ignore it. I had to confront him. I had to ask the questions that were burning in my mind. I couldn't let him continue living this double life. But what would happen if I confronted him? Would he admit to it? Would he tell me the truth? Would this tear our family apart? I spent the next few hours pacing back and forth in the attic, my mind a whirlwind. I couldn't stop thinking about what I had just read. I tried to tell myself that maybe it wasn't as bad as it seemed. Maybe it was just some silly infatuation, something that wouldn't last. But deep down I knew it wasn't just some harmless flirtation. It was real, and it was happening behind my back. When I finally went downstairs, Alex was in the living room, watching TV. He looked up when I entered, and the tension between us was palpable. He could tell something was wrong. I could see it in his eyes, but I didn't want to make small talk. I didn't want to pretend that everything was fine. Alex, I said, my voice shaking, we need to talk. He looked up, his expression shifting to one of concern. What's wrong, Anna? I didn't answer him. Instead, I walked to the kitchen, opened the drawer, and pulled out the journal. I held it out to him without saying a word. He stared at it for a long moment, his eyes flicking nervously between me and the journal. Where did you find this? He asked, his voice thick with fear. I found it in the attic, I said coldly, my hands gripping the journal tightly. And now I want you to explain it to me. He opened his mouth as if to speak, but no words came out at first. I could see the panic in his eyes, the guilt on his face. He knew he had been caught. Who is she? I asked, my voice low and controlled, though my heart was racing. Who is this woman, and why have you been writing these love letters to her? Alex took a deep breath, his hands shaking. Anna, I'm so sorry. I didn't want you to find out like this. I never meant for it to go this far. Then why did it go this far? I asked, my voice rising now. Why didn't you tell me the truth? Why didn't you just tell me if you were unhappy? Why hide it from me for so long? I was ashamed, he said, his voice barely audible. I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't want to lose everything we had. It started off as a stupid mistake. I wasn't thinking clearly. But as time went on, I couldn't stop. And now, I can't undo what I've done. I felt like the room was spinning around me. This wasn't happening. I had spent years with him, trusted him with everything, and this was what he had been doing behind my back. It felt like my entire world had been flipped upside down. Do you love her? I asked, the words slipping out before I could stop them. Do you love her? Alex. He looked away, unable to meet my eyes. Yes, he whispered. I do. My heart shattered in that moment. I had already suspected it, but hearing him admit it, the pain in his voice as he said it, made everything so much worse. He had fallen in love with another woman, and I was the last to know. I never wanted this to happen, he said again, his voice breaking. I'm so sorry, Anna. I didn't want to hurt you. You've already hurt me, I said quietly, feeling the tears well up in my eyes. You've already broken everything. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this, he said desperately, his hand reaching out for me. Please, don't leave me. I love you, Anna. Please, don't leave me. But I couldn't even look at him. The man I had loved for years, the man I thought I knew, was now a stranger to me. He had betrayed me in the worst way possible, and I didn't know how to come back from this. I need space, I said, my voice trembling. I need time. I can't do this right now. I don't know what to do. He nodded, tears streaming down his face, but I didn't care. I couldn't. I turned away from him, my heart breaking with each step I took. I didn't know what the future held, but I knew one thing. For sure, I couldn't stay in this life anymore. I couldn't live in the lie he had built. I needed to figure out who I was without him. I needed to find myself again. I grabbed my purse and walked out of the house, not knowing where I was going, but knowing I had to leave. I couldn't stay in this place, not with all the lies surrounding me. I had to find a way to heal, even if it meant leaving everything behind. The days that followed felt like a blur. Every time I closed my eyes, the image of Alex, his face, full of regret, filled my mind. The words he had said, I love you, Anna. I'll do anything to fix this, echoed in my head, but they meant nothing now. I had trusted him. I had given him everything, and yet I was now standing at a crossroads, unsure of what to do or where to go. I didn't go back to the house immediately. I couldn't. I stayed with my sister Rachel, whose house was quiet and calm, a refuge from the storm I felt inside. Rachel didn't ask me a single question when I showed up at her doorstep. She just took one look at my face, saw the tears in my eyes, and pulled me into a hug. You don't have to talk about it, she whispered. But I'm here, okay? Her words were a lifeline. I had no idea what I wanted, no idea what I was supposed to do, but for the first time in days, I felt safe. I didn't have to pretend everything was fine, and I didn't have to hold it together for anyone. I could just be. I could breathe. But the questions didn't stop. I spent days with Rachel, pacing around her living room, watching old movies to distract myself. But all I could think about was Alex. The way he had looked at me when he confessed, the pain in his eyes as he admitted to falling in love with another woman. Was I supposed to forgive him? Could I even consider the idea of going back to him? I felt utterly torn. The man I had married, the man I thought I knew, had been living a secret life. For who knows how long. I thought we had a strong, trusting marriage, but now I couldn't even look at the life we had built together without feeling like a complete fool. It wasn't until the 5th day that I finally worked up the courage to call him. My heart was still racing, but I knew I had to talk to him. I needed answers. More than that, I needed closure. Could we salvage what we had, or was it too far gone? When he picked up the phone, I could hear the relief in his voice, though there was a tremor of nervousness in it as well. "Anna," he said softly, his voice laced with guilt. "I'm so glad you called. I've been going crazy, thinking about you. I never wanted to hurt you, and I don't know how to fix this." I swallowed hard, trying to steady my breathing. "I don't know what I want, Alex," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "I don't know if I can even look at you the same way again. I know I've broken your trust, Anna, and I don't expect you to forgive me right away," he said, his voice trembling. "But I want to try. I want to do whatever it takes to make things right. I'll give you space. I'll go to therapy. Whatever it is you need, I'm here. I love you. I always have." The sincerity in his voice almost broke me. He did love me. I knew that, but love alone didn't fix betrayal. Love alone didn't erase the wounds he had inflicted. I felt like I was caught between two worlds, one where I still loved him and one where he had become a stranger to me. "I need to understand what happened," I said quietly. "I need to know everything, Alex. Why didn't you tell me? Why did you keep this from me?" "I didn't know how," he said, his voice full of regret. "I didn't know how to tell you that I had fallen in love with her, that it wasn't just a fling. I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't want to lose you. And I thought I could keep it all separate, that I could live my life with you and not let it interfere. But I was wrong. I was selfish." His words hit me like a punch to the stomach, and I closed my eyes, trying to absorb everything he was saying. "I was wrong," he repeated. "I never wanted you to find out this way. I know I've hurt you more than I can ever explain." I sat in silence for a long time, my mind spinning. "I don't know if I can ever trust you again," I said finally. "I don't know if I can ever look at you and not see the lies, not see the woman you were with. I don't know if I can do this." "I understand," he said quietly, his voice full of sorrow. "I'm not asking you to forgive me right away. I just want you to know that I love you. I want to fix this, Anna. I'm willing to do whatever it takes." I shook my head, trying to keep my emotions in check. "You've hurt me in ways I don't even know how to explain. I can't just forget this, Alex. I can't just move on like nothing happened. I don't know if I can even look at you and not see the betrayal." "Please, Anna," he begged. "I don't want to lose you. I'll do anything to fix this. Please, just give me a chance." "I don't know if I can give you that chance," I said softly, my heart heavy with the weight of the decision I was about to make. "I don't know if I can go back to the way things were. I don't know if I can forgive you." "I'll wait for you," he said, his voice breaking. "I'll wait as long as you need. Please, just don't give up on me. Don't give up on us." But even as he said those words, I knew that I had already given up on the man I thought I knew. I didn't know who he was anymore. He wasn't the man I had married. He was a stranger, someone who had betrayed me in the worst way possible. "I need time," I said quietly, my voice steady but full of emotion. "I need to figure out if this is something I can move past, if I can even look at you the same way. But right now I don't know. I don't know if I can ever trust you again." Take all the time you need, he whispered. I'll be here. I'll be waiting for you. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Instead, I hung up the phone, my mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what the future held. But what I did know was that I couldn't stay in limbo forever. I couldn't keep running from the truth. The truth was that everything had changed, and I didn't know if we could ever go back to the way things were. I spent the next few days in a haze, trying to make sense of everything. I spent hours talking to Rachel, trying to process the emotions swirling inside me. But every time I closed my eyes, I saw Alex, and I heard his voice, pleading for me to forgive him. How could I forgive him? How could I go back to the man who had broken my heart? I felt lost, confused. I didn't know what to do. Eventually, I knew I had to make a choice. I couldn't keep living in this in-between state, unable to move forward. I had to face the truth, even if it meant facing the painful reality that everything I had believed in had been shattered. But how could I move forward? Could I ever forgive him? Could I ever trust him again? I wasn't sure, but I knew that I had to start somewhere. I decided to go back to the house. I couldn't keep running away from the reality of what had happened. I had to face him, face the lies, face the truth, even if it broke me.